Okay, now, this is the third video for chapter 4, and we will start discussing installment liquidation. Now, so I've told you there are two kinds of liquidation, lump sum, and which I previously discussed in the video number 2, and installment liquidation. Now, hindi nangyayari lagi ang lump sum liquidation. Mas malimit mangyari ay installment liquidation for the practical reasons. Kasi minsan, pag nilalump sum liquidation, nababarat yung partnership. So, ginagawa ng partners ng partnership na ibang negosyo ay inuunti-unti ang pagbebenta para mapresyohan nila ng husay. Now, under the installment liquidation method, realization of non-cash assets is accomplished over an extended period of time. Maraming oras. It's a process of selling some assets, paying the creditors with available cash, and giving the cash remaining available cash to the partners. And later on, pag nabenta uli, ay saka uli maghahatian. Now, the realization, there are procedures in installment liquidation. Number 1, syempre, bebenta ang non-cash assets and distribution of gain or loss on realization among the partners based on their profit and loss ratio. 2, payment of liquidation expenses and adjustments for unrecorded liabilities. Both of these items will be distributed among the partners in their profit and loss ratio. Now, since installment liquidation nga yan, hindi lahat napapabenta, so maaaring you have to maintain a warehouse for to keep and to safeguard your remaining non-cash assets na hindi pa napapabenta. So may gastos, posibleng may gastos. Now, third, of course, is the payment of liabilities to outsiders. And fourth, itong kakaiba sa lump sum liquidation, which is the distribution of available cash based on schedule of safe payments, which assumes possible losses due to inability of the partnership to dispose of part or all the remaining assets and failure of the partners with capital deficiencies to make additional contribution. And payments to partners can also be made based on the cash priority program. Two ways of distributing cash in the statement in the installment liquidation. Let us first discuss schedule of safe payments. Now, sa schedule of safe payments, syempre halimbawa ang non-cash assets mo ay worth 1 million, ang napabenta lamang ay 500,000. Kunyari, yung 500,000 na assets, non-cash assets na hindi pa napapabenta, you will assume na yan ay lost na, hindi na mapapabenta. Kaya, i-distribute mo na agad yung loss na yon. So, get it? Yung napabenta, syempre, di ba, hindi mo sigurado kung mapapabenta pa. So, that's the reason why you have to assume that the assets na hindi napabenta ay hindi na mapapabenta at lugi na ron. Let us show you an example or an illustration. On page 4-20, the balance sheet of Gamba, Mulles, and Mones partners, 4:3:3, show the following balances. Ito yung kanilang balance sheet or statement of financial position up as of April 30. They have a cash of 315,000. They have non-cash assets of 1,250,000, liabilities of 435,000, which is the outside creditors. May pautang Simones na 30,000 sa partnership, inside creditor. And the capital of Gamba, Mulles, and Mones. In May, remember, April 30 sila nagsara at nag-decide na mag-liquidate. In May, part of the assets are sold at book value 300. So, out of the 1,250,000 na non-cash assets niya, ang napabenta lang ay 300,000 at book value. Walang lugi, walang tubo. In June, the remaining assets are sold for 210,000. So yung 950,000 na natitira, kasi napabenta 900 no. Yung 1,040,000, tama? Yung 1,040,000 ay napabenta, 300,000 ang napabenta, 1,250,000. So nabawasan ng 300, 950,000 na lang. Ang non-cash asset na hindi pa napapabenta. Nung June, napabenta, kaso 210,000 lang. So malaking lugi. Assume that available cash is distributed to the proper parties at the end of May and at the end of June. So dalawang beses kasi nung May, nakabenta silang 300 at nung June, napabenta ng lahat. Assume further that partners are solvent. So ibig sabihin, merong personal assets. And that any partner who is deficient made appropriate payments to the partnership on July 30. So, noong July 30 na, naubos na lahat. Now, you have to prepare two schedules, two computation. One is the distribution for May and for the distribution in June. Okay? Schedule muna of safe payments. So remember, before you prepare the statement of liquidation for July, in July na, kasi nabenta May and June. Noong July, tinapos na nila. So, gagawa ka muna ng schedule of safe payments for May and June. So, pag nakamit kayo ng problem na 3 beses, nagkaroon ng bentahan, 3 beses kayong gagawa na schedule of safe payments. Now, let us go to the schedule of payments for May, which is on page 4-21. Magkano ang cash balance at the end of May 31? 600 plus 350 kay Mulles at 150 kay Mones. Magkano yun? 950, 1 million, 950 plus 150, 1.1 million. Saan nakuha yung 1.1 million na yan? So, no. Cash balances before distribution of cash. These are the capital of Gamba, 600. Ako actually, nalitong-lito rin ako dito nung umpisa. 350 kay Mulles at 150 kay Mones. It should be labeled as capital balances before distribution of cash. Now, remember, may utang kay Mones na 30,000 ng partnership. So, idadagdag yon sa total capital ni Mones to make it 180 for Mones, 350 and 600 for Mulles and Gamba respectively. So, ano nangyari? Restricted interest possible loss of 950. So, yung hindi na pabenta, posibleng hindi na mapabenta, so it is a possible loss already. Okay? possible loss already. 950. If nothing is realized, so i-offset na yon. At 4:3:3. So Gamba will share 380. Mulyes will share 285. And Mones will share 285. 4:3:3. 4/10, 3/10, and 3/10. Now, after deducting the possible loss of 950, remember, Mayo pa lang ang pinag-uusapan natin. Kaya as of May, merong hindi pa napapabenta 950. Kaya posibleng loss na yon muna. Okay? So, after distributing the loss, the possible or the assumed loss, si Gamba ay meron na lang natitirang 220,000 na kapital. Si Mulyes, 65,000. Pero si Mones, kulang na ng 105,000. Okay. Susundan nyo maigi. Now, restricted interest, additional possible loss of 105,000 if Mones is unable to satisfy her possible deficiency. Now, kung hindi mapunuan ni Mones ang kakulangan niyang 105, ay pupunuan ng dalawa. Katulad din sa lamsam. Pag kulang ka at hindi mo na mapunuan, ay pupunuan ng natitirang partner. Coming from the capital of the two partners with remaining capital pa. So, as of May 31, they have Gamba has a free interest or free na capital of 160, and Mulyes has a free capital of 20,000, and of course Simones wala na. Now, Mayo yon, ha? Noong June, so pag ganyan, i-consider nyo separately or independently. So napaka-importante ng dates. Noong June, mayroong 144,000 natitira si Gamba at si Mulyes ay 108,000 at si Mones ay 42,000 negative. Saan galing yon? Okay. So, puntahan nyo naman yung figure 4-7. Now, what happened in June? Okay? Noong June, yung remaining cash, remaining non-cash asset ay napabenta for 210,000 only. Kaya, ang cash balance for June 30 ay 144 kay Gamba, kay Mulyes ay 108 at 42,000 kay negative 42,000 kay Mones. Following their profit and loss sharing. Now, restricted interest additional possible loss of 42,000. Siyempre, negative pa rin si Mones. Ha? So, negative 24 kay Gamba, negative 18 kay Mulyes. And how much are the remaining capital that is free? Ibig sabihin, hindi pa, walang katapat na utang, walang katapat na babayaran pa. Kay Gamba na lang at kay Mulyes. It can be observed that the total partners' interests are continuously restricted for possible losses. So, the partners' restricted interests represent the portion of a partner's interest which should remain available to absorb possible future losses. Restricted interests are provided for assumed non-sale of remaining non-cash assets and for assumed insolvency of deficient partners. Okay. Now, ano magiging entry doon? Sa unang sale ng May, debit cash, 300. Credit, non-cash asset, 300. And so on and so forth. It's there. Now, how then do you distribute the cash? Following the format, of course, the first line is given sa balance sheet nila. Yung May sale ay 300,000. So, nadagdagan ng 300 yung cash. 950. 950 na lang ang non-cash asset. And babayaran ang liabilities na 435,000 nung Mayo. Saan galing yun? Yun sa balance sheet. 435,000. Now, how much ang cash na lang? 180. 950 ang non-cash, 30. Pa rin ang utang, 600, 350. Yung May, based on the Schedule A, yung 180,000 na remaining cash ay mapapadistribute kay Gamba at kay Mulyes based do sa Schedule A. Now, yung June naman, nadagdagan ng 210 ng cash, 950 na wala. Yung loss ay paghahati-hatian nila, which brings the and offsetting, of course, yung pautang ni Mones, which brings the balances to only 144, 108, and negative 42 kay Gamba, Mulyes, at Mones. Makikita niyan sa Schedule 2. And based on the distribution of Schedule 2, which is Schedule B, which is in June, 120 mapupunta kay Gamba at 90 mapupunta kay Mulyes. Now, remember, ang una nating assumption ay si Mones ay solvent. Kaya magbibigay siya ng 42,000 pa para punuan yung kulang na kapital ni Gamba at ni Mulyes. Now, let us go to the cash priority program, which is another way of distributing installment liquidation. Now, the use of safe payment schedule in support of illustration for the previous is reliable method of computing the amount. Mas reliable daw yon of safe payments to partners, for it prevents excessive payments of any partner. Kasi nga naman, kung dinistribute na agad nung Mayo ang cash, hindi nila alam kung mabebenta pa ang remaining assets na 950,000. Ito na nga nangyari. Noong June, yung 950 nabenta lamang ng 210,000. So paano kung dinistribute? Yung pala si Mones, kulang na kulang ang kapital sa kanilang kalugihan. Kaya sabi nga dito, mas reliable nga raw ang schedule of safe payments. Now, however, the approach is inefficient if numerous installment distribution are to be made to partners. Hindi na magiging efficiente raw kung halimbawa ang mga non-cash asset ay maraming beses na nagkaroon ng installment sale. So siguro mas effective lang ito pag 2 beses lamang na nagkaroon ng installment liquidation. Kaya naman, let's merong isa pang the partnership made in the previous illustration, the partnership made 2 payments for each schedule of safe payments. The procedure preparing safe payment schedules will go on as long as there is cash to be distributed until the capital balances are aligned with the P&L ratio. This repetitive procedure can be avoided with the introduction of an alternative device called Cash Priority Program. This program, which is prepared at the start of the liquidation process, will help the partners project when they can expect to be included in the cash distribution. Baka nga naman maganda-ganda ito. Kung ang expected ng liquidation ay magtatagal. If the program is prepared, any amount of cash received from the realization of partnership assets may be paid immediately to partnership creditors, and later the partners are specified in the program. Now you can see it in illustration 4-8. Now, this is an illustrative problem of Laguna and Manalo and Espanyol. 60, 25, 15 ang kanilang profit and loss ratio. Balance sheet nila, given, they only have a cash of 50,000 and non-cash assets of 925 with a liability of 350. Walang pautang, walang inside creditors at capital na to. Certain assets are sold in July at book value. So, 500,000 na benta out of 925. Noong July daw, book value. So walang lugi, walang tubo. Remaining assets are sold in August for 150. Yan ang problema. Out of the 425 remaining assets, nabenta lang na 150 the following month. Now, there is what we call the loss absorption balances. Present the maximum loss that the partners can absorb without reducing their equity below zero. The partners with the biggest capital exposure or loss absorption balance should be prioritized in a cash distribution. A partner with a relatively low absorption balance can be wiped out by a material realization loss. So, kukumpitin dito, meron sinasabing loss absorption balances. So, yung partner na may malaking kapital, so posibleng mas capable siya to absorb losses. Looking at figure 4-8, titingnan nyo, Manalo has the lowest loss absorption balance. And this means that she is most vulnerable to susceptible losses. Bakit? Makikita nyo. Hindi ko malaki kasi ang sharing is 25% kay Manalo at 100,000 lang kapital niya. Not like kay Espanyol na 75,000 nga lang ang kapital pero 15% lang ang kanyang P&L ratio. Manalo's capital balance will become zero because her share in the loss will be 100,000. It will be 100,000, which is equivalent to her capital. Di ba? Yung 400,000 na loss. Saan nanggaling yung 400,000 na loss? Di ba? 925, nabenta yung 500 muna. So, magkano na lang ang natin nila? 425. Nabenta siya ng 150. Assuming that the loss, halimbawa, kunyari lang, ang naging loss ay 400,000. At getting the 25% of that, ubus agad ang kapital ni Manalo. Kaya si Manalo has the lowest absorption losses. Now, Look at figure 4-8. Noong June 30, nung sila mag-decide na magbenta, hindi pa nakakapagbenta yan ha, kasi nag-umpisa lang magbenta ay July and August. Walang loan balances. Tama. 450, 175. Divide by profit and loss ratio. 60%, 25%, and 15%. So, yung 250,000, which is 60%, is assumed priority 1 to Laguna, which is 250, and 150, wait. So if we get the 60% of Laguna, which is 250, she will get 60% cash priority program out of the 250. Yun ang sinasabing cash priority program. Ang second priority na ay si Laguna pa rin at si Espanyol. Para nagpantay-pantay ang kapital nila based on the computation with the asterisk. Now, nang makompute at mapagpantay-pantay na ang kanilang kapital, what will happen now? Distribute cash priority program 150, priority 1 si Laguna, and si Laguna and Espanyol also on the second priority. Now, this may be a bit confusing. Kaya naman, I suggest that you read this, including figures 4-9, which is the cash distribution for the partners. If you have questions on this, I will try to schedule another synchronous class this coming week bago magkaroon tayo ng schedule ng midterm exam. Don't worry, I'll give you a very simple problem on liquidation come midterm. This usually is hindi pinagsasasama sa midterm. Pero talagang kailangan lang malaman ninyo kung ang principle behind the liquidation process of a partnership. I will upload this again and hopefully I will announce any schedule of synchronous class later on or tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.